Hey guys, Brandon Laser here. I'm going to be doing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list in-depth today. Today's going to be a little different because I took too long to do this video, and now tomorrow we will have Tsukuyomi back. And Tsukuyomi is coming off of the list, not going onto the list or not staying on the list. Tsukuyomi is coming off the list. We're getting something back from the list, so essentially back from the forbidden vault of Yugi. Really, I'm going to be talking about why it was put on there and why we're getting it back, or why I think we're getting it back. So let's take a step back 6 years ago. 6 years ago in Yu-Gi-Oh! There was a format called the GOAT format. And in this format, Scapegoats was at 3, Tsukuyomi was playable. There was a lot of combos and a lot of crazy stuff going on during that time, OTKs, that were very enabled by Tsukuyomi and Scapegoats. And other cards, but I'm not really going to go super in-depth into that. You know, I mean, like, there's a Magical Scientist, OTK, there was the Thousand Eyes Restrict, OTK, or not so much OTK, but Lock. There was the Mask of Darkness Trap Cycle Lock, where your opponent would play, you know, a trap that made you not be able to draw, you know, Lock. So you would use a lot of locks, magical, you know, Magician of Faith, you know, loops. There's just a lot of Tsukuyomi enabled a lot of loops for broken combos. Magical Scientist, Thousand Eyes Restrict, Megamorph, Last Will, and Magician of Faith are all banned, and Scapegoats down to 1 because of this format. This whole format, you know, just wrecked Yugi. It was doing what people in Magic like to call degenerative things. Now, what does that mean, degenerative things? I'm going to be posting, you know, a floating image of the definition of degeneration. And essentially what it means is to kind of work the opposite of something, you know, like if a ball is supposed to roll, it should not melt, I guess, you know, like it's something working not the way it's supposed to, essentially, or working in such a way that it's counterproductive towards the main goal of a thing. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Is supposed to be this fast-paced game. Well, it's not supposed to be, but it is known for being this fast-paced game. And it is known for having these combos, and it's known for, you know, being fun to some people. I think it's fun, you know, and I'm sure you do if you're watching this video. So, in this format, Yu-Gi-Oh! Got very unfun because there were so many combos that were so degenerative that it was just like your opponent would go, okay, summon Tsukuyomi, do this, you know, do this again. Hit you, bring Tsukuyomi back to my hand, your turn, you can't draw, you can't do this, you can't do that, okay, bring Tsukuyomi back out again, do this, you know, all these things, and Konami wasn't having it, so they just wrecked that whole format. But, you know, as we all know, or as we all should know now, Konami does things not just to balance the game, but also to facilitate sales. So obviously at the time they were probably trying to make, you know, Chaos come into play. I don't think Chaos existed yet, you know, when Tsukuyomi was still out or whatever. And then I think Tsukuyomi came out right at the end of, you know, right when Chaos started or something. Tsukuyomi was part of a big format where there was a lot of ridiculous stuff. Now let's fast forward 6 years later to now, and Tsukuyomi is coming back tomorrow, Saturday, September 1st. You know, and that's exciting. I think that's really cool because Tsukuyomi isn't as powerful as it used to be anymore. Yes, it is powerful, but in today's format, the game is so fast, and Tsukuyomi is used to being in a very control-based format. The Tsukuyomi has become kind of, I don't want to say underpowered, but lost a lot of power. So we're going to be comparing Tsukuyomi to Book of Moon. And here's a little bit of trivia. Tsukuyomi is a mythological character in Japan. Tsukuyomi is basically the god of the moon. And Book of Moon, you know, is also relatable to the moon. And Book of Moon flips monsters down, and so does Tsukuyomi. So, there you go. You know, they're kind of, it's all intertwined. Konami knows their history, their mythology at least a little bit. So, that's why those two things do the same thing, because they're based on basically kind of the same concept. Anyways, okay, Book of Moon versus Tsukuyomi. Now, in my opinion, I believe that Book of Moon is more powerful than Tsukuyomi in the aspect of it is a little more versatile. Now, what I mean by this is you can set it and use it offensively or defensively. You can attack and use it offensively or defensively, and it gives you a surprise factor. Whereas Tsukuyomi becomes sort of a liability when you summon it, so your opponent can react with Valor, making it stay on the board instead of going up to the hand via the Spirit effect. You can respond to it with some kind of a torrential or trap hole or whatever, a counter of some sort, or a summoning response. And it's a monster, so it can put you in danger by getting hit. It can put you in danger by getting booked itself. It's just a lot of things like that. But with that negative aspect, you can exceed with it now. You can, and it has a built-in Book of Moon effect that you can keep using. So to weigh the pros and cons, I think that Book of Moon is a more viable option than Tsukuyomi, but Tsukuyomi being a monster lets it be searched and gives it a versatility in that aspect. You can search it with Sangan, you can mill it to the graveyard and add it to your hand somehow. There's a lot of things you could do with it, but that being said, it has to be summoned, so it takes your summon for the turn. With the inclusion of Exceeds and Synchroing, Tsukuyomi could see play because it's a 4-star, it's a spellcaster, and it's came out with a lot of spellcaster support. I can see why they brought it off the ban list. It's not as powerful as it used to be. There's not a whole lot of loops and crazy stuff that Tsukuyomi is capable of doing. Somebody will, I guarantee, try to break this card again at 1, but I think that it won't be as broken as you think it is, and there's a lot of response, a lot of stuff to respond to it now. Yeah, Gores didn't exist back then, that's for sure. But now that's a good point to bring up, is that Tsukuyomi is an answer to Gores per se. Gores has a pretty big defense, so you could normal summon or flip up your Tsukuyomi and flipping down Gores. So if you had set up, if you hit, they brought out Gores, you had set Tsukuyomi that turn, so when they hit it or whatever, or maybe you could protect yourself. You had a Wapaku, or you have whatever Swords of Revealing Light out or something. Set your Tsukuyomi, or you had just summoned it, and you could still somehow bring out maybe like a Gemini Pearl or something like that to kill your Gores, then you're good to go. So it gives you basically 2 Book of Moon effects, but I think it's slower than Book of Moon, rather than just giving us another Book of Moon or 3 Book of Moons or whatever. They just gave us Tsukuyomi back, because Tsukuyomi is essentially Book of Moon, or Book of Moon is essentially Tsukuyomi. However you want to look at it. So that's why basically Tsukuyomi is back, because they're trying to slow down the format without completely stopping it, and by giving us another Book of Moon, I think would have caused a lot of not OTK options, but opportunities for your opponent to go, okay, you brought out these big things, but Book of Moon that, kill it, okay, you might have been able to come back if I didn't Book of Moon that too, type of thing. And Tsukuyomi doesn't allow you to do that. Tsukuyomi has to be summoned, so it wastes your normal summon for the turn, and all that stuff. With that being said, Tsukuyomi is very splashable. So Tsukuyomi will see play in every deck. Tsukuyomi will be in every deck. Tsukuyomi isn't going to be like, just something you see in this deck maybe, or that deck maybe. Tsukuyomi is Book of Moon. That is searchable via Sangan. So any deck that you see playing Tour Guide will have Tsukuyomi in it. And that's another reason that Tsukuyomi was banned, is because Tsukuyomi is splashable. A lot of the banned cards are splashable because of that reason. Because why would you play this archetype thing if you had this splashable version of it instead? So basically that's going to be it for this video. Tsukuyomi is back. You guys should experiment with that. I come from a format where Tsukuyomi came out and then was banned. So I've been playing for that long. I've seen Tsukuyomi. I've seen what Tsukuyomi can do, and I know that from experience that it is capable of doing some crazy stuff, but I don't see anything in this format that could be overtly abused by Tsukuyomi that doesn't already have an ability to get something like that already. Like, you think, oh, well, you can use it with Gear Armor or whatever, but Gear Armor already has that effect to flip itself down, and it doesn't really need Tsukuyomi because it doesn't need to be flipped summoned. If it's flipped face up, it gets its effect. So even if it's hit, it gets its effect. That's why it's a super. So Tsukuyomi, I don't think there's anything crazy. In the comment section below, let me know of any crazy, abusable combos you think people will use Tsukuyomi for. I can't really think of anything right now, but I'm not super familiar with the meta, from before September 1st. And I think that Tsukuyomi will help mold the new meta, and you will see Tsukuyomi probably in every deck. But yeah, in the comment section below, let me know how you think people will abuse Tsukuyomi. I'll be posting my Twitter in the description bar, and as always, you can subscribe here on YouTube to see when I put out new videos. And thanks for watching.